We also want to thank the philanthropists, which include, and I want to be very clear here, we are not allowing you to levy our children any extra amount. But if the parents on their own volition select those among themselves who are able, like my most humble self, are we together? I should be able to contribute like what I have seen being done in that boarding house. And this goes to everybody. There is no hard and fast rule that, oh, even if you want to give a helping hand, you should not. On the other hand, no teacher is allowed to take any child out of school on matters related to extra charges because they don't exist. Secondary school, day secondary school is absolutely free. So anybody who is sending a child home for an extra charge is a criminal. Let me use that very strong word. Because the government is providing everything. And before you send a child home to go and look for the money, go to the child's home and see whether there is money there. And you will be shocked what you see. And you will actually look very stupid for sending the child home. Recently, there's a principal who sent a child home. The child got into a very major accident and is somewhere in Kisi being treated. So please let us treat our children as human beings. God is not stupid to have made our hands different. Are we together? These fingers are not the same. This one is fatter, this one is smaller. But they are all mine. Why don't I want to say that this fat one is the only one I like? If this one is not there, there's something, in fact, as a surgeon, this is the most important one. Do you get the point? Yeah. So before you send a child home from a day school to go and look for money for food, follow that child and see which home are you sending the child to. And if you are a good manager, you should be able to let these ones who have money buy enough githeri so that you can share with him. I think you will be moving towards heaven doing that. So I hope I have made myself extremely clear, ladies and gentlemen, in that we should stop banning schools. We have now put teams in place. Any other person who is not a student, who is aiding students to ban, be you a watchman for a few hundred shillings, your fate is in your hands. Because we don't want to be told the same story that, oh, when students are in the prep room, then the dormitory caught fire. You think we have no brain? So I hope people don't come and start saying, oh, let's treat this with decorum. When they are banning other children's properties in the dormitory, are they thinking of decorum? Are we together here? So I want to thank you once again, Machakos, and I'm asking all the other schools to emulate you, even though you are lucky in that your principal is the chief, is the head of all the principals in the country, and that might have got the effect here, but still, there are many other schools like you that should not. Why should you ban your school because another one has gotten banned? Do you even need to exist in life? You are better not born, isn't it? Why should you ban the school because the neighboring school has gotten banned? Or some boys come here and tell you, how come you are still in school? We have banned ours. You remember that? I don't want to go there, I will scare you. Let's leave it there. Thank you very much. And you must also understand one thing. I made a choice to come and celebrate you today, isn't it? I would have decided not to come. So every action you decide to do, God gave you a very big brain, bigger than that of the elephant, compared to your body. You must know that there is a consequence to it. And we shall not handle you with kid gloves. You are our children. We have produced you with our own blood. Surely you cannot be more intelligent than us. You can't. So anybody who is planning to burn the building, just remember that if you are caught, you are not going to go to any other school, definitely not a public school in this country. You will go back and ensure that your parents contribute to the rebuilding of the school that you have burnt. That is the first one. Secondly, we shall charge you and it shall remain on your record. So when you come to look for a job, or if you are a doctor, and you find out this one was involved in burning a house this way, say, oh, thank you very much, next. So it's a very serious issue. Do not look at the splendid outside glamour. Do not allow yourself to be led by another person. You should be the example. Like I've seen, I invited my son, who is the captain here, to sit with us in the high table, because he fits there. He didn't bring himself. The way I have seen, the way he has managed you, he should even have sat on my seat. Do you understand? So I am not addressing you as Machakos, but I'm addressing all the other children and those schools who are leading from the back, who have already burned their schools and they shall rebuild them with their own parents' money. I appreciate your parents because they are building a hostel for you. Why would you burn it so that you can go back to them to give you more money to repair it? Does it make sense? So I hope I've made myself extremely clear that schools will remain. We have given you a time to go and vent, and your teachers are excellent. They are some of the best teachers in the world. They are available to you. And if they can identify you before, we will be able to help you. But if we are identified after, we have the DCI and the DPP. Is there the police commander is here? Yes. Yes, sir. It will work. It doesn't matter. Your age doesn't matter. In my tribe, you burn a house, it is an abomination. So you never hear people burning houses in Western. It's a very big abomination. Where do you get this nonsense that you want to burn a classroom or a boarding house? So thank you very much for what. Nothing comes for nothing. It is because of the continuous effort that I've seen you have a large number of prefects. I used to be a prefect before. The only difference at my time was that I used to be a prefect, but I used to be caned at the same time. And if I was not caned 6 strokes of the best on more than 6 occasions, you would not be seeing Magoha, son of Magoha, standing here as a cabinet secretary, I can assure you. Discipline starts from the family. And it is a fact that quite a number of our families have failed us. It looks mundane and juvenile for somebody in high school to burn a building. What has the building done to you? And let us not pretend that we are burning the building because of stress from Corona. That is not true. It could not be further from the truth. The statistics show otherwise, that this madness, I call it madness, because excellent learners like you, top grade leaders and future leaders, even a toilet in your village you don't burn. It means you are an animal, you are not a human being. But starting from 2016, ladies and gentlemen, there were 239 episodes of arson, mainly by students. In 2017, we had 62. In 2018, we had 61. 2019, we had 63. And last year, we had 7. Even just before the corona had started in Bungoma, we had already started burning. My charge to you, our most excellent teachers, superintended by the Teacher Service Commission, that since I came here, I've been observing the school, and there are CCTV cameras everywhere. There's a command and control center, manned 24 hours. Even when a student is going to the toilet, you can see. So what is all this nonsense that students were in a prep room and fire started in the boarding house? It is stupid, it is primitive, and it must stop. if it does not stop, do not think you are going to force us to close schools. We are not closing any schools. If you are not studying, it is up to you. Your exams are ready in March. You will take them by the grace of God. And by the way, we are talking about 99% of the students. The 1% who want to spoil for others, we shall deal with you circumferentially. I want to assure you.
But in the long run, Bwana CS, it is important for us to look more into the Education Act. The Act must also give an opportunity to the Board of Management, to the Board or County Education Boards, to be able to institute disciplinary measures to wayward students. Because it's just a small clique in every school. It will be a very small number. Majority of our students are very disciplined. But the hands of the Board of Management and the county education boards are a little bit tied in taking action. For example, one of the functions of the Board of Management is to institute discipline and forward those discipline cases to the county education boards. But when you look at the functions of the county education boards, there is nothing very explicit on how they can handle discipline issues. I'm very much aware my county education board chair is here. I think the function they have is conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is okay, but is where we now have two people who have realized there is a conflict, and this conflict requires to be resolved and a mediator is found. But when we are dealing with matters in discipline, sometimes there is no conflict for you to try and look for resolution measures. So it requires that we look at those acts to be able to empower, to some level, the boards and the county education boards. And even to you, the act ensures that you have to make sure every going child is in school. But supposing this child does not want to be in school, it is not giving you alternatives. And that is why I'm calling for, as a nation, can we have an opportunity to have a national dialogue on these issues? Issues of discipline, issues of infrastructure development, and issues of funding of schools. Today, majority of our schools are owed a lot of money by our parents. We want to appeal to parents. We know we are equally parents, the challenge we have faced from Corona. But it is also important to ensure that these schools are well funded to be able to provide the much needed services by our students. I want to continue appealing to parents to play their role. And as you've said before, that those students involved in the burning of schools and destroying property, they have to pay for it. I want to join you and ask my colleagues, wherever they are in this nation, that they should not admit students without proper checkup and clearances from their former schools. And even use this opportunity to ask our colleagues in the private sector not to admit students when they have not been cleared. Because chances of students running now away from the destroyed properties to public institutions or to other institutions is going to be very high. They must go back and repair and pay for the damage they have caused. And those who happen to be imprisoned, sir, it is important as a nation we look at what happened to our Boston institutions. Those who are not ready to be in a community like this one, then they should be isolated, allowed to continue learning, but in an institution that will show them the direction they are supposed to go. We can't have those who are not focused on achieving something disturbing the majority who are ready to achieve something for their life. As the chairman of Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, it is important that I do comment on the wave of school unrest and burning of school property that is going on. I want to use this platform first to appeal to all students of this nation that there is no amount of stress that can make you destroy millions of properties that have been put in our institutions. Any kind of stress can be sorted out by proper discussion with the administration, which I have continually appealed to my colleagues to be available for discussion. So we want to ask all students that let us open our channels more of discussion with school administration to be able to forestall some of these issues. And if you have personal issues that are maybe generating from home, and therefore the school becomes the only place to ventilate, share with us and we'll be able to discuss that with those causing that stress to you, if they are your parents or any other members. I would be happy to see students picket, refuse to go to class, wanting to be addressed over a certain issue. But don't ban, don't destroy property that has been put up through very hard-earned money by our parents and by the government of Kenya. So we are all concerned, and we want to ask all students, if the pressure is on the work, the Ministry of Education has announced when we shall be breaking for a midterm break. But I want to clearly state that that midterm break is not given because the schools are burning. In our view, it was an oversight from the very beginning when the Committee on Return of Schools worked on the calendar. I think that was an oversight. But this has been sorted out. If there are other issues, let us be able to discuss. But in the short run, CS, I would wish we consider the following. One, we have been able to give these students a break. But as they come back, I want to appeal to the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, to look at the health protocols in the resumption of activities, inter-school activities in this country. These students have a lot of pent-up energy that is not enough to be ventilated only at games time and during clubs time. I want to call upon the Ministry of Health to allow a little bit of inter-school competition. Yesterday, we did have a visiting school that came here and to play football. And the kind of excitement, the kind of cheering that I saw clearly showed that these young men are missing something. Let us allow them to go in for drama, for those who love drama. Let us allow them to go in for music festivals, for those who love singing. Let those who play rugby go in and play their rugby, soccer, the same. I'm sure this will help us put different directions in which they can use their energy. That in the short run.